And in the studio with me, Harvey Wasserman, journalist, activist, author. His latest is a forthcoming new book, Strip and Flip Selection of 2015, 5 Jim Crows and Electronic Voting, Election Theft, excuse me.
Yes. Well, it's out, actually.
It's out.
And we're adding a section on the primaries, and then we'll add another section when the election's over. But it's the Strip and Flip Selection of 2016, and we lay out how it's been done over the decades in America and how it's being done again.
Yeah. Yeah, and solartopia.org is your main website?
Solartopia.org and freepress.org.
And freepress.org, of course. Free Press forever is.
Yeah, forever, yes.
An amazing website. But you came on to talk about what's going on in New York with nuclear power. This is a mind-boggling story. That this is coming out of even a Democratic governor is mind-boggling. But just what's going on here?
It is absolutely defies description. Andrew Cuomo, the allegedly anti-nuclear governor who at least has been allegedly fighting Indian Point, the 2 reactors north of New York City, which are, of course, accidents in progress. They're not accidents waiting to happen. Suddenly, out of the blue, we have 4 reactors in upstate New York that are about to shut. They're old, they're uneconomical, they're dangerous, they're completely inefficient, they cannot compete. And suddenly, Andrew Cuomo has gone to the Public Utilities Commission of New York and strong-armed a decision that sets aside between $7 and $11 billion to keep 4 nuclear power plants operating in the state of New York that are about to shut, whose owners actually want them to shut. It's staggering.
Why would he do that?
He must be on some kind of drug.
No, seriously. What is the reason that his office gives?
He claimed that because there are jobs involved. He says there's 600 to 1,000 jobs at a nuclear plant. But we have Mark Jacobson from Stanford and Mark Cooper from Vermont have shown that money, the billions of dollars that he wants to use to keep these 4 nukes shut, could create tens of thousands of jobs with renewable energy.
Right.
And these reactors, like the 100 that are left all over the country, are really dangerous. I mean, they are like your old Volvo that's fallen apart, and you're not going to put in new parts.
The one with 200,000 miles on it.
Yeah, and it's well, we'll go another 300. I mean, it's insane. Now, Nuclear Information Resource Service, NIRS.org, and my site, solartopia.org, and nukefree.org, we are posting the materials in this. But this is the last battle with nuclear power. Most of the pro-nuclear people have admitted there's not going to be any new nuclear plants built. It's just completely
It's not only not economical, it's also not carbon-free.
No, it's not
nuclear
carbon-free.
plants don't produce so-called carbon-free electricity really until the 10th or 11th year of their lifetime because of all the carbon that's burned, making the concrete, manufacturing the plants, digging up the uranium, transporting it, refining it. The fuel, yeah.
Right.
I mean, all of these processes are done with
carbon.
With carbon.
But the one thing they never mention, every nuclear power plant, the one at Diablo Canyon, the 2 reactors, they dump 2.5 billion gallons of heated water into the ocean every day. And if you take the 100 nuclear reactors around the United States and you charitably say each one dumps 1 billion gallons of hot water into the either through steam or into the lakes, rivers, and streams, on their daily operations. We have an industry, a nuclear industry, that claims to be fighting global warming that's dumping a minimum of 100 billion gallons of heated water or steam into the environment every day. So we're fighting global warming by heating the environment. Wow. Directly. The nuclear power eliminates the middleman. Now, they do have carbon-14 emissions, which are small. But you're right, that the whole fuel cycle involves carbon emissions.
Right.
But they never discuss the 100 billion gallons of hot water and steam.
And they never discuss the fact that without Price-Anderson, the 1950s law that made you and me, our government, our tax dollars, the employer the insurer of last resort.
Right.
For nuclear power plants. The nuclear power plants literally could not, Lloyd's of London won't write a policy for nuclear power plant. Nobody will write a primary insurance policy for these guys.
And then these guys are running, these pro-nuclears are running around complaining about subsidies for renewables. But I am in favor of get rid of all subsidies for all energy sources. Get rid of the subsidies for wind, for solar, for oil, for coal, for gas, and for nuclear. And start with that insurance policy, the Price-Anderson from '57, that makes the government and the taxpayer liable for a major disaster at a nuclear plant. get rid of all of them, and solar would just explode right through the roof.
Oh yeah, every nuclear plant in the country would have to be shut down in a week. And if we start, and we've got what, a $5.1 trillion annual worldwide subsidy for the fossil fuel industry.
Oh, it's insane.
It's which is hundreds of billions of dollars just in the United States, and natural gas, and not to mention the externalities that we're not capturing. So,
well, also, Thom, we're now in the midst of a big war, which I call King Kong: coal, oil, nukes, and gas versus Solartopia. Because the fossil nuclear industry is coming at solar with both guns blazing. They have basically banned it from Ohio. Wyoming now wants to tax wind energy. They're fighting a rooftop solar wherever they possibly can, because they know that rooftop solar energy is the end of the utility industry. Right. And so they are fighting the feed-in tariffs. They're fighting the net metering, doing everything they possibly can to slow down or stop renewable energy. Right. And they're claiming, like in Germany, that it's not working. What's not working in Germany, where they're making the conversion, is that the renewables are producing so much cheap energy that the utilities are just all at the verge of bankruptcy. Yeah. There's
for-profit utilities.
Yes,
there are state-run utilities as well there.
Yes, but they're all saying, although they were getting this in L.A. from the DWP, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, which is public-owned, is also fighting solar. Yeah. Because they own, this municipal owns a share of the Palo Verde nuclear plants in Arizona. Oh, so they're all defending the radioactive buggy whip industry is fighting back and trying to stop solar. Right. So it's, King Kong versus Solartopia.
Amazing.
But this thing, anybody in New York and in California, where a deal was cut to shut Diablo Canyon, the 2 reactors, but it's 9 years out. Right. We want, and the 2 good things that have come out of this deal, PG&E, a huge utility, has admitted that they can, in fact, get the power from Diablo Canyon with renewables. Right. So they've agreed to that, and they've also set up, for the first time, a sane transition plan for the workers at the site. Right. It's called a retain and retrain. So we have that on record now, but in California and in New York, we have epic battles to get these reactors shut. If they win this in New York and they get these huge government subsidies to keep these reactors going, there are 4 upstate reactors. This is a really serious deal, so people should contact NEARS.org and IRS.org. Look at the articles at nukefree.org. We've got to win this one, Thom. It's a really big deal.
Yeah, I agree. We're talking with Harvey Wasserman, journalist, activist, and author. Your new book is Strip and Flip Selection of 2016, 5 Jim Crows in Electronic Election Theft. Harvey, we got about 3 minutes before we hit a break, and I got to go back to taking phone calls. In those 3 minutes, can you tell me how is it possible that Donald Trump could actually win this election?
Well, very easily. I mean, anything could happen to Hillary along the way. This is August, not October.
Setting that aside.
Yeah, but if he can convince the Republican governors in Ohio, Iowa, Michigan, and Arizona to flip the vote count in those swing states, and if he's close enough nationwide, which he could be, like I say, this is August, not October, he could win the election.
Do the governors actually have the power to change the vote in those states?
Yes, they do. And late at night, if you have an electronic-based vote count, which you do in these 4 states, and you have a governor and a secretary of state from the same party, they can, at midnight on election night, make the vote count whatever they want. And no one can...
Is this what happened in 2004 in Ohio?
Absolutely. It was done by J. Kenneth Blackwell, the secretary of state, who met on Election Day in his office with George W. Bush and Karl Rove, who flew to Columbus to meet with J. Kenneth Blackwell. How many secretaries of state are met by the presidential candidates on the day of the election? He had a no-bid contract out to an IT firm that was controlled by a Bush family operative, and they did the electronic vote count in 2004.
And it wasn't even this company was not even in Ohio, right?
Well, the servers were in a basement in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which also hosted the servers from the Republican National Committee and Karl Rove's personal email. But that was just a coincidence.
And the 22 million missing presidential emails.
Yes,
right?
Same deal.
That Alberto Gonzales got in all kinds of trouble over for one day. I think it was Pat Leahy was yelling about it in the Senate, but the Democrats kind of let that go, unlike Hillary Clinton's missing emails.
Right. So the bottom line for 2016 is if Donald Trump is reasonably close to Hillary, where 4 or 5 states could swing the outcome, they could swing the outcome. Yeah. If in that case it doesn't get along with Trump, but I'm sure somewhere along they could make a deal.
Well, the Republicans are looking at the Supreme Court just like Democrats.
That's correct.
And they're willing to say, we'll put up a crazy man to get, 3 or 4 more Scalias on the Supreme Court.
Right.
Because the Supreme Court is actually more powerful than the president these days.
At this point in time,
many
yes.
matters.
And Trump is also anti-choice. And when push comes to shove, Kasich and Houston, the 2 guys in Ohio, are also anti-choice.
Right.
And when it comes to, quote, saving babies versus stealing elections, which is going to win every time. So if Trump is within 4 states of Hillary on Election Day, watch out. Because these 4 governors and secretaries of state...
And we're going to see red shift again where the exit polls say that Hillary Clinton won, but the electronic machines say that it was Donald Trump.
That could happen. Absolutely.
Just like we saw in Ohio in 2004.
Yes. And in Florida in 2000.
Yeah.
And the stripping of the voter rolls is really going on very quickly. Greg Powers has a movie about this. I'm saying millions of
Chris Kobach is leading that effort out of Kansas.
Millions of black, Hispanic, and young voters are being stripped off. And
amazing.
You're listening to Thom Hartmann. Visit ThomHartmann.com for audio and video archives.
Harvey Wasserman, his new book, Strip and Flip Selection of 2016, 5 Jim Crows in Electronic Voting Theft, and check out solartopia.org as well. Harvey, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Always great.
Good to have you with us.